Every day, we are blessed to interact with some of Colorado's most interesting people. On this podcast, Judaism with Altitude, we share their fascinating stories with you, and
we have a great time.
Good evening. I want to share some thoughts on the Kol Nidrei service that we have tomorrow night. If you're listening to this, I think it would be really great if you came to my shul, and you could hear this in person. And therefore, if you're going to come, just go ahead and stop listening right now, because I'm going to say this tomorrow night. But if for some reason you can't come, then this is for you to listen before Yom Kippur, and hopefully can be inspiring for you. So there's an incredible story in which there's a young man who has some psychiatric problems, and he believes that he's dead. He believes that he's a walking corpse. And his exasperated parents struggle with him and finally arrange an appointment with a highly respected New York City psychiatrist. The psychiatrist tries his professional best to convince the young man that he was not a corpse and that he was certainly not dead. The two men fruitlessly argued this point back and forth. Finally, the psychiatrist has a brilliant idea that he was certain would convince the young man that his belief was erroneous. The psychiatrist turned to the young man and asked, "Do you think dead people bleed?" The young man thought about this for a moment, then answered, "No. All body functions have stopped when you're dead, so there would be no blood flowing." The psychiatrist then took a needle from his desk and pricked the young man's finger. The young man gasped and stared at his finger in amazement. "Well," he finally stammered, "apparently dead people do bleed." Very interesting story. There's another story that takes a different angle in beliefs. And for many years, it was universally believed to be impossible for human beings to run a mile in 4 minutes. The athletes of the time held this belief, and the scientific world totally agreed. But then on May 6, 1954, something remarkable happened. It seems that there was one man who did not believe it was impossible to run a 4-minute mile. In fact, this man firmly believed this barrier could be broken, and that he would be the one to do so. The name of this remarkable rebel was Roger Bannister, and on that fateful day, he did indeed run the first historically recorded 4-minute mile. Bannister's amazing victory illustrates the power of one man's belief in his own capabilities. But what's even more interesting is that just 6 weeks later, Australian runner John Lundy cut 1 second off Bannister's record. And in the following 10 years, almost 200 people also broke this so-called impossible barrier. Why did this happen? Because Bannister shattered the belief that the 4-minute mile was impossible. And when that belief fell, the 4-minute mile suddenly became possible. Every year I'm bothered by the anticlimactic nature of the prayer of Kol Nidrei. This is the one night of the year where more Jews come to synagogue than any other night. This is the night where we hear legendary stories from Jewish history of heroic Jews risking their lives to hear Kol Nidrei. In Russian forests in Siberia, in Auschwitz, during pogroms, and during the Spanish Inquisition. It contains the iconic melody that many of us can sing in our sleep. Kol Nidrei, da 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 da. But what's it all about? If you actually read the words, it's a technical, legal declaration annulling all kinds of different vows and promises. The text reads, Kol Nidrei v'asarei v'shvuyei v'charmei v'konamei, etc. All these vows and these things with which we have made forbidden on ourselves, and oaths and items we've consecrated to the temple, and vows and other konamim, other types of promises that we did. We regret having made these vows. They should all be permitted, forgiven, eradicated, nullified. They should not be valid or exist any longer. Our vows should no longer be vows. Our prohibitions shall no longer be prohibited, and our oaths are no longer oaths. Very interesting. Why is this so crucial? That this is the thing that everyone comes for. After Kol Nidrei, people flock out of synagogue. But why does everyone stay for Kol Nidrei? Why is that? So the deeper meaning of Kol Nidrei, I believe, if we look a little bit deeper at the Hebrew definition of the word neder, or vow, so the Talmud describes nedarim as things that I prohibit upon myself, or I prohibit certain things from having other people use them or benefiting from them. I might make a neder not to get benefit from a particular person or thing. But if we dive deeper, perhaps we can suggest that when a person makes nedarim, when he makes vows, on a deeper level, he limits himself. He creates blocks for himself that confine him and hold him back. Perhaps on a deeper level, we are acknowledging that throughout the year, we have placed restrictions and limitations on ourselves in our own lives. Maybe through Kol Nidrei, we're referring to not only the technical vows and oaths, but the barriers we have placed before ourselves, the suffocating, limiting beliefs that we have subscribed to. And what do? We declare that these things are betalin mevatalin. They're nullified completely. L'shurin v'l'kayam, they shouldn't exist anymore. They have no authority. Nedarna lo nidrei, our vows are not vows. Our shavuos lo shavuos, our oaths are not oaths. We're liberating ourselves from the shackles of these limitations, these limiting beliefs, the ones that suffocate us and prevent us from becoming the remarkable individuals infused with godliness they were destined to be. We declare that these are null and void. I want to demonstrate this idea through a brief analysis on one of the most enigmatic, devastating, tragic events recorded in the Torah. Why were the Jewish people sentenced to 40 years of endless wandering in the desert before they crossed into Israel? Why did so many people die in the desert before making it to the Promised Land? And the truth is, the Torah tells us very clearly why this is. The Jewish people sent out spies, 12 spies, to go scout out the land of Israel. They saw, some big people there, a mighty, nation living there, and they came back and they reported what happened. And they said, "Visapru lo v'yomer banu al aretz." They told him, and they said, "We came to the land that you sent us to. V'gam zavas chalav v'dvashi." Yeah, it's true. It flows with milk and honey. And v'zeh pirya, here's the fruits, really big, special fruits. But efes ki az ha'am hayoshev ba'aretz. But the people who live there are very big and strong. Varim b'tzuros, and fortified cities. Gedolos went very big. We saw sons of giants there. We saw big people there. It's not going to be so simple for us to come there. That's what they said. What's so bad about this? I'm the head of a middle school boys basketball team, and if I would ask you to go sneak into another school and watch them play ball, and then you come back and you tell me that they're disciplined, well-coached, fast, and tall, what's so bad about that? You did exactly what I asked you to do. The Ramban, Nachmanides, says something remarkable. He writes, what was the problem with what they did? He says the Rishon, their wickedness was b'milas ephes, was through the word ephes, the word but. When they said that it's a land flowing with milk and honey, but they're very big and strong, the word for but here was ephes. Ephes also means zero. He says, Shimora al davar ephes. He says, it's impossible. There's a zero chance that this thing could happen. It's prevented from a person. It'd be impossible in any circumstance for him to do this, to overcome the challenges. He says, again, it's a nice land. He says it's good fruit. But we cannot. It's impossible to come to them, to overcome them, because they're so big. Fortified cities. Ephes, there's zero chance that it's possible. That was their fatal flaw. That's why they were prevented from entering the land of Israel. Because the truth is that the words that I can't are heresy. They're blasphemous words. Because every single one of us is infused with the divine soul that came straight from the Almighty Himself. So we begin Yom Kippur by renouncing these thoughts and beliefs that limit us, that hold us back and prevent us from who we are destined to become. And as Dr. Jill Amon Wexler describes it, our personal beliefs will set and define the limits of what we can or cannot achieve in our lifetimes. If our beliefs are empowering, we will live in a world of opportunity and success like Roger Bannister. But if, God forbid, our beliefs are limiting, we will live a life filled with disappointment, frustration, and continued failure. Like our friend who truly believed he was dead. And not even after the doctor poked him with the needle, causing him to bleed, could he be convinced otherwise. Because of his beliefs. Because unless you are willing to take action, your beliefs can remain beyond challenge, even in the face of undeniable evidence that they're not true. As Amon Wexler says, if you're not achieving what you want in your life, there's a 100% chance that the source of the problem is your limiting beliefs. Tomorrow night, during Kol Nidrei, we declare these limiting beliefs to be null and void. Tomorrow night, we begin our journey towards true greatness. Wishing everyone a beautiful Yom Kippur and a meaningful fast.